Hello and welcome friends to a soft reset for Total War Warhammer 3, playing as the Slaanesh-based faction of the Sect of Akhalee, led by Mahaduva, the Deva of Blood. Now the reason I'm calling this a soft reset is because of the fact that I did have a lot of fun in the past 2 episodes I made for this campaign. However, some of my Slaanesh enhanced mods broke or conflicted with other mods, so I had to tweak a few things around, and also in between I got caught up with other playthroughs and making YouTube shorts for Total War Warhammer and also Elder Scrolls. But that aside, I'm very much excited to soft reset this campaign, and the reason I'm doing it at this time is because of the fact that the Slaanesh DLC is on the horizon and I'm very much looking forward to it. Now my prediction, and I do want to hear from all of you in the comments as well, where you think D'Chala's campaign will start in Immortal Empires. Now, I personally think it's going to start in the lands of Ind and Khuresh because of the fact that, yes, those are Snakemen regions, and she herself is a snake model, as you've seen in the demo that CA released. And speaking of Ind and Khuresh, that is going to be our starting location here. Now, it does say that we're going to be quote-unquote highlighted in Lustria, but that's just a glitch on the game itself. Ind and Khuresh is going to be our conquest zones, and it's not going to be easy either because of the fact that we will be going up against other modded factions added from Chaos Robbie's Immortal Empires Expanded. This is a standalone mod, but you do need Immortal Empires Expanded in order to play it. And yes, I will leave the link to this mod and my other mods that I'm playing with in the pinned comment below. Bear in mind too, I do have over 200 mods with this playthrough, so it is very much a long list. But the link to this specific mod, Immortal Empires Expanded, and a few other Slaanesh mods that I'll be playing with will be in the description and pinned comment as well. Now, in terms of Slaanesh mods that I'm playing with and looking forward to showcasing in this video, and also in a few standalone mod showcase videos too, are the Slaanesh Vassals rework, Slaanesh steals faction leaders, and Slaanesh keeps seduced units. Now, those 3 mods very much make Slaanesh as a race very overpowered, but at the same time, incredibly fun to play. So with the Vassals rework, essentially we gain buildings, and what that means is our vassals still keep the buildings that we gift to them, and that they conquer themselves, but also we as the player get to build our own buildings in those settlements as if we own them ourselves. Now that does, like I said, seem overpowered, but at the same time it makes it so that the vassals actually have some further use other than just randomly gifting them settlements and cities that don't really mean much to me. And yes, we do gain more than just meager passive income that way. And the other 2 mods, Slaanesh steals faction leaders and Slaanesh keeps seduce units, they essentially explain themselves. That's overpowered because of the fact that we can literally keep stolen cannons, elite units. I'm just using those specifically because I do like the idea of Slaanesh keeping trophies for her faction, and especially with this playthrough as well. It's going to be pretty insane later on in the campaign because I do want to try to conquer the islands of Tor Elisor because of the fact that there's high elves in that area, and also Malus Darkblade. I did have a mod that changed his position to that specific area, so we'll wipe out the high elves, take out Malus's faction, and steal him as a leader to lead our armies, which we will then either move on to eventually using the sea lanes to attack Ulthuan, or maybe even Lustria itself, and then steal Morathi that way. Now, I do have a few stolen units in my playthrough right now. We are about 3 or 4 rounds in, give or take. We have cannons from the Guests of the Raja, which are an empire. They're a minor empire faction, but it is nice to have those elite units stolen and fighting for us. And we do have some witch elves from the Corsairs of Spite, which we are also at war with. But as you'll see here very soon, I'm going to show you all how I'm going to make them my vassal. And yes, we're not starting over again from the very start. I do want to start from these rounds 3 or 4-ish, just because we do have a good momentum going for us, and it's going to be a good way to showcase the reworked vassal system specifically for Slaanesh itself. Now, I do want to recap the faction effects, and as you can see here, it seems as though that this faction encourages you to have mortal-based Slaanesh units with these Pavartadar units and Rajput warriors with the +3 rank, and also -40 upkeep for devoted marauders of Slaanesh units. And our marauders, they are reskinned a little bit to have more of a Southeast Asian Indian culture look to them, which I very much love as well. The designs and artwork of them are very intense and also really do stand out. Now, we also do have some Exalted Demonists of Slaanesh to supplement our army, and that's pretty powerful in the early game. Not only that, but for our makeshift cavalry, the Fiends of Slaanesh, they are absolutely devastating, and they've helped me out in those early battles as well. And also, we do gain extra 30% devotees after winning a battle, which those devotees for our fodder armies will be useful later on in the campaign in terms of holding our settlements and also being used to essentially mop up any problematic areas for us. But without further ado, let's get on to our campaign, and this specific part I'm going to show you all me vassalizing the Corsairs of Spite, which it's going to turn around a whole lot of things for us in a good way. And regardless if you're a new or returning viewer, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and please do let me know in the comments some things that you would love to see me improve upon in these Let's Play videos, whether it's my commentary or strategies on the campaign and battle map. Any feedback is very much welcome feedback, my friends. Alright, my friends, 2 turns in, and we are doing insanely well for ourselves. So on the second turn, I did capture the Temple of Shere Khan. Essentially, I held the Corsairs of Spite hostage. They did have the City of Spires and also this minor settlement of Virandapur down here. But because of that, we were set to essentially wipe them out very soon in the early game. So they sued for peace, I sold them back their temple, and also with that, I made them my vassals after selling their temple back to them. Now, that's going to really set us up for success in terms of conquering down south, because we still have the Guests of the Raja and also this Bretonnian Slaanesh faction that's in our way here. Now, my question for all of you in the comments is whether I should wipe them out completely or to steal their faction leader. I don't necessarily want to make them my vassal because it's a little bit redundant, considering I do have the Corsairs of Spite as my vassal, and they are a very capable and powerful vassal themselves too, and I don't really want to piss them off by getting another vassal to compete with them. Mahadeva does not have any movement whatsoever, but we do have our disciple army here, which let's see if we can move just a little bit farther with this forced march stance. We're going to send you all the way down to Virandapur, and I do want them to act as our scouts just to keep an eye on Alphonse Dolmans. We don't have any seducing yet. And yes, I am going to be using this other mod that calls a warband to us or our vassals over. So we're going to get Duriath Hellbane to move along with us, and we're going to send all of our forces, including our disciple army, to take out Alphonse at his settlement there. Let's take a look at our skill points that we can distribute before we launch our siege and wipe out our rival Bretonnian Slaanesh counters in the south. Alright, our Pleasure Cultist will give Deadly Blade. Alright, and then Hysterical Frenzy, and let's see. Yeah, the passive of melee attack and leadership is going to help our mortal units out a lot. And yes, as you can see here, they are our vassals, and we, unlike the base game vanilla vassals, you can see that we have options for building slots here, that for our specific cults as well. You will be getting some messages here on the right that says settlement occupied, peace negotiated, and then cult proliferates. Yeah, these are the ones that you'll see here after you vassalize a faction, and any settlements that they own, especially the major ones, will pop up building slots for you to build at your own whim. This one we don't necessarily need any infantry to recruit, just because I am going to try to primarily rely on seducing units, and I'm going to try to seduce some Bretonnian units to our side. Again, it's mainly for trophy purposes and also to really just build a mixed variety army. Variety is the spice of life. All right, let's see here. That's 2 times upgraded. Cult growth could be useful here, but we only have control over the city of Spires. Vajrapur and also Himaranya, we don't want to move north just yet because, like I said, our focus should be on our Bretonnian rivals. Ooh, what is this building here? This might be a unique building only for us, and my apologies if there's any lag or delay in between. Like I said, I am playing with over 200 mods, so that could make a few things a little bit glitchy here. We could gain a pleasure cultist and some Slaanesh corruption, but also this is a little bit too far away for us. Alright, what do we have here? And our only settlement that we officially own is Rajayapuram. And then let's see here. I do want to gain control or Slaanesh corruption. I think I might go for control because we are going to potentially experience a rebellion in 3 turns. Alright, like I said, no need for mortal servants, so we'll be gaining a whole bunch of money. Not that we're in necessarily need of it. We don't have to upgrade this. That's just going to be a waste of money. Alright, let's go for some control. Right, I think potentially growth might be the move here. A little bit of control. And then what are we doing here? Okay, cult growth, and yes, cult growth is separate from our actual growth from the settlements that we specifically own. Cult growth only applies to our vassals. Alright, I'll leave that there for now. Right, I think I'll choose Slaanesh. I'll definitely double down with Slaanesh corruption because of the fact that I do want this disciple army to stay alive as long as possible. And if we do spawn more disciple armies, I want my Slaanesh corruption to keep spreading into adjacent provinces. I am trying to think long term about this. And we'll end the turn here, my friends, and in the next one, I'll be fast forwarding to us laying siege to Suryapuri and hopefully taking out Alphonse Dolmans. Alright, my friends, fast forwarding to the siege of Suryapuri, we are going to have a decisive victory here, but I'm not just going to do it manually. I do want it to be a cinematic battle, or as close to a cinematic battle as possible for all of you. So I'll be doing it manually, and we are going to absolutely cripple the Bretonnians by taking away their field trebuchets. So we have artillery advantage, but 2 of the, well, underrated units in my opinion, these mounted yeomen archers, they may prove to be very annoying for us, and they do ironically outrange most of our units that we got here. Wow, okay, they even outrange our actual archers. 140 to 130. And then the dark shards that we stole from the Corsairs of Spite only have 125. Yeah, wow, they ironically outranged them, but I'm going to try to focus my cannons and field trebuchets on them, despite them being cavalry, so they might be dodging most of those attacks. While they're raining fire down on them, I'll be sending my Fiends of Slaanesh to take them out, and also the Demonettes of Slaanesh I'll try to use to overwhelm them as well. Coming at them from different sides. The sadistic seducers are going to be very key in this battle here and wiping out their cavalry, or at least tying their cavalry down. Yeah, and we can't forget about these Knights of the Realm as well. Only other range that they have are these peasant bowmen, but I'm going to try to also micromanage to my best ability in terms of using my demonettes to get behind their lines. And let's see, speed of these witch elves. No, they're not fast enough. But also I think I can rely on my Black Ark Corsairs and my vassal to tie down their frontline infantry. But let's see how we do for this battle, my friends. Alright, my friends, fast forwarding to the Siege of Suryapuri, we are going to have a decisive victory here, but I'm not just going to do it manually. I do want it to be a cinematic battle, or as close to a cinematic battle as possible for all of you. So I'll be doing it manually, and we are going to absolutely cripple the Bretonnians by taking away their field trebuchets. So we have artillery advantage, but two of the underrated units in my opinion, these mounted yeomen archers, they may prove to be very annoying for us, and they do ironically outrange most of our units that we got here. Wow, okay, they even outrange our actual archers. 140 to 130. And then the dark shards that we stole from the Corsairs of Spite only have 125. Yeah, wow, they ironically outranged them, but I'm going to try to focus my cannons and field trebuchets on them, despite them being cavalry, so they might be dodging most of those attacks. While they're raining fire down on them, I'll be sending my Fiends of Slaanesh to take them out, and also the Demonettes of Slaanesh I'll try to use to overwhelm them as well. Coming at them from different sides. The sadistic seducers are going to be very key in this battle here and wiping out their cavalry, or at least tying their cavalry down. Yeah, and we can't forget about these Knights of the Realm as well. Only other range that they have are these peasant bowmen, but I'm going to try to also micromanage to my best ability in terms of using my demonettes to get behind their lines. And let's see, speed of these witch elves. No, they're not fast enough. But also I think I can rely on my Black Ark Corsairs and my vassal to tie down their frontline infantry. But let's see how we do for this battle, my friends. Welcome to the battlefield, my friends. We have a standard formation here with our devoted marauders taking the front, supported with our Hell Scourges, and we are using our Rajput warriors on the right flank as some reserve units. I don't want to try to use them in this battle. I will only use them if things go a little bit sour for us. We do have our cavalry out on the far right flank here with our sadistic seducers, Fiends of Slaanesh, and also supported with our Demonettes of Slaanesh. They're not necessarily cavalry, but they also have a-okay speed, and I do need them as my flankers. We also will use the foliage here as cover for ourselves to launch attacks on the Bretonnians here, and like I mentioned before, we do have range superiority with our cavalry. Let's take a look at what the Bretonnians have, all decked out in Slaanesh attire, and yes, this is a modded Bretonnian Slaanesh faction. They are technically in the Bretonnian race, but they do have access to some Slaanesh units if we can take a look here. Yep, they have Hell Scourges with their front line. Bretonnian peasant bowmen with Pox arrows supporting them, and then this is Alphonse Dolmens as their legendary lord. He's a very good duelist. I might send my hero to assassinate him once he's damaged enough. And like I was mentioning before, let's see if we can find their cavalry. just because that's going to be a major annoyance for us. They might be hiding them in the trees, and our secret weapon here will be our reinforcements of vassals coming in from behind them. My main concern is they might try to rush us, which, if that's the case too, we do have our other reinforcements with our disciple army here to back us up as well. But we'll start the battle and see. Ooh, okay. Are they rushing us at the moment? Okay, a little bit concerning there. Alright, let's see if we can get some of our troops to take the hillside here. I'm willing to sacrifice my front lines if it means buying more time for us. Alright, let's get our cavalry control groups hidden as deep in the forest as possible. Yeah, I want these guys to hold the hillside for as long as possible. You guys come around on the flank. Make sure that you hold that choke point there. Yeah, I want to hold you guys in reserve. Demonettes, I do want you guys to come out as far out to the right as possible. Okay, that's where they were hiding their yeoman archers. Alright, I need to buy just enough time so our vassals charge in from the flank. I'm not too concerned about Knights of the Realm just because I believe my Fiends of Slaanesh and Sadistic Seducers can easily counter them. Demonettes of Slaanesh will need to chase down or at least try to tire out these mounted yeomen. We'll try to use the woods as cover, just so we can absorb some of that arrow fire coming in. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of cat and mouse games going on here, I think. Are they going to advance into the forest? Okay. Charging in. Alright, now's the chance. Okay, I'm going to send my cavalry in to take out their cavalry. Alright, and then Disciple Army, I want you all charging in immediately. Alright, Vassals charging in. Oh, okay, their mounted yeomen are going to be absolutely bogged down by these dark elves here. Decent charge from them, but none to save them. Yeah, and our Fiends of Slaanesh absolutely wrecking house on these mounted yeomen archers. Yep, regular mounted yeomen being taken down quite easily. Alright, let's buff our Fiends of Slaanesh. Let's get this group of cavalry. Ooh, okay, actually I do want to take out these Knights of the Realm. Demonettes, let's have you retreat back. Alright, you guys charge into these archers here. Alright, all of you bog down those cavalry immediately. Yeah, they're trying to cycle charge out of there. Yeah, their archers are completely unprotected. I don't know what they were thinking. Alright, you guys start surrounding their archers. Make sure that there's no room for escape. Ooh, okay, and our fiends charging into these knights. Yeah, wavering attacked in the rear and shaken. Alright, don't let them escape. Yeah, cut them down to size. Okay, we did run into those pole arms, but they're getting slaughtered as at the moment. And our vassal doing a lot of good work here. Dark Shards taking them out. It would be nice if we could buff our allies. But we'll just keep buffing ourselves. Yeah, Knights of the Realm completely broken at this point. And yeah, I think our vassal could easily take out the rest of their army here. Yeah, their front line is completely crumbling at the moment. Alright, let's see. How are we doing here? Let's have you guys reinforce your brethren here. And you know what? Let's just send in the rest of our army to at least take out their archers. Yeah, they're in complete full retreat at the moment. Yeah, Blackguard Corsairs doing a lot of heavy lifting here in terms of cutting through their infantry like butter. And yeah, even Blackguard Corsairs, they don't really have much armor themselves. They don't need to worry about that if they can actually dish out damage faster than they take it. Alright, very solid work there, and a complete wipe and victory. Yeah, a major mistake on their end was charging into the woods and getting surprise attacked by our makeshift cavalry. I was expecting our demonettes to take a beating there, just because I was expecting their yeoman archers to run into us, but they did keep one unit of theirs back. And yeah, strength in numbers, my friends. Alright, let's end the battle there. Alright, only 57 losses on our end, and most of that was probably a little bit of demonettes, but also some of our mortal units that we just sent to distract the Bretonnians for a bit. And let's see, with Alphonse, pretty much losing all of your cavalry and your artillery is ours. Looking at our starting army right now too, we have a pretty good, I think we're going to have a really good run in terms of building up our warband and easily conquering all of Ind. And yeah, I know some of you in the comments may say that this seems very overpowered with the Slaanesh mods that we are using, but we are going to be going up against Malus and eventually, well, potentially Altmon if we really get that far into the campaign. And I will be ending here, my friends. Please do let me know in the comments where you would like to see me take the campaign, whether you think after we conquer all of Ind and Khuresh we should launch attacks into Cathay and conquer up north, or if you would like to see a different strategy and have us try to bomb rush Malus as early as possible. Now, that's going to be very difficult for us because Malus himself is a one-man doom stack, but I do want to hear all of your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, if you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for taking the time to watch. And also, I'd love to hear your tips and guides on how I could improve my Let's Plays, or in terms of improving on the battle and campaign map. Until then, my friends, I'll try to release more future episodes of this playthrough just because of the fact that the Slaanesh DLC is on the horizon, and this is honestly one of my ways of not just preparing but also like getting excited for it. And also, please do let me know what kinds of units or even heroes, and if we do get a free legendary lord for Slaanesh, who would you want it to be? But until then, my friends, I'll save you a seat at the table for the next adventure. Take care and farewell.